Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live video, and I'm just out here double checking that I am live where I want to be out on my Facebook page, which hopefully I am. Of course, it's taken a second to get everything refreshed, so I just want to make sure that I can see comments and things when you guys are out here. So if anyone is joining live, feel free to say hello. I appreciate you being here. So there we go. It's looking like it's live and in the right spot. So, okay, I think we are good to go. So, hey, Lori, thanks for hopping in. I see Connie is here as well. So thanks for joining today. And my screen is all kinds of crazy crooked, it looks like, on the, on the video. So, hey, Akiko, I'm glad you're here as well. So, oh, you have the package coming today, and hopefully this is in it because it's a good one. I mean, it's a really, really pretty die set, really pretty stamp set. The coordinating papers, the whole suite is awesome. So definitely a good one. Hey, Barbara, glad you're here. I see Karen and Karen are both here, and Catherine is here as well. So, and Diane and Jerry. So thank you everybody for joining today. I appreciate you being here. And so I guess, well, I'll run through quickly what it is that I used on this card, and then I have a couple things I want to chat about, and then we'll get going on the stamping. So this is the card we're going to make today, and it's definitely, the dies they're easy to use, but it took me sort of a minute of looking at them and trying to figure everything out, so how to put it together. So I figured I'd do a video to show you guys, because it's easy to use. Like I said, it takes sort of a minute where you have to kind of stop and think about what you're doing. So all right, so the stamp set that we are using today, the bundle that we're using today, is Prized Peony, and this is the stamp set. It's got lots of pretty sentiments in it, some beautiful floral images, so definitely a good one, and it is a red rubber stamp, so hopefully you can see that. I've pulled out couple of them to use today. So a good stamp set, very pretty images. And then there are some coordinating dies, and these are the very appropriately named Peony dies. So they scared you when, hey Mary, glad you're here. They scared you when you first saw them. Like I said, initially when I looked at them, I was like, I don't understand this. And then once I cut everything out and figured out what everything did, then they're actually really easy to use. So it's a lot of dies, so don't be like overwhelmed by looking at it. This is a really pretty scalloped border that embosses the little kind of curly scallops, emboss, and then it cuts along the edge, so that's very, very pretty. I've seen several people use that. Of course, I didn't on my card today, but it's a very good one. And then this is an outline that cuts out this flower. This outline cuts out this flower. There's a large outline around here that cuts out this flower. And then these two dies, oops, hopefully I wasn't off screen this whole time. These two dies cut out the leaves. So those dies are all part of the stamped images. Then you have the other dies, and that's what we're using today. So I'm going to pull them all off so you can kind of see how it is, what dies that you're going to be using for this 3D flower. So these are the parts of the flower, and whoops, I forgot the flower center. That one's in here too. So this is the largest, obviously the outside on it, and then they just sort of tuck and layer one inside the other, and then that's the very flower center. So these are the dies, whoops, and I got this one upside down even. So those are the dies that we're going to be using today, and just take a note on the bottom of them, they all have a little notch right here. That's what you were going to be lining up when we're putting the flower together. So again, when I get to actually putting it together, I'll show you how it works. But just make a note in your mind that just remember the little notch at the bottom of all the dies, and that's how you line these up. All right, so let me set these aside. I also used the pieces for the leaves, so there are a couple of leaves on here. These are the outline pieces for the leaves, and it took me sort of a minute. These are like layering pieces for the leaves. And it took me sort of a minute to figure out these as well, because I wanted to put them up at the top of the die cuts, but they didn't fit up there right. And I'm like, what in the world? Well, then when I realized that you actually use them on the bottom of the dies, oops, and flip them so that they're basically cutting out a layer on the bottom of the die cut, then all of a sudden they work together much better. So that's one other little tip, is just when you look at those dies, they look all backwards, but then you're going to realize that you just put them on the bottom and it's all good. So again, I'll show you what it all looks like when it's cut out, but just wanted to run through those dies quickly with you. And again, it's the Prized Peony stamp set bundle with the Peony dies. And then I also used on the background the Dainty Diamonds embossing folder, which this is an absolutely beautiful embossing folder. You can see the design fairly well in here, and hopefully you can see it on the cardstock when I actually hold it up here, because it's really, really, really pretty. And dainty is a really good way to describe it. It's just kind of a very pretty, nice, dainty embossing. So I like that a lot. Definitely very pretty. One of the other die sets that I used, believe it or not, was the Hippo and Friends die set. And while the stamp set is cute and everything that goes with it, the main reason that I got this bundle is because of these sets of dies, because they're awesome. So this is actually the die that I used to cut out the Whisper White cardstock that I've got backing my flower. So that's the die that I used. And again, this is from the Hippo and Friends dies. And there is a little cute stamp set that's bundled with it. But like I said, the outline, or the kind of sentiment die, I guess they're different shapes. The layering dies are really, that's what drew me to this die set and made me want to buy it. And then of course the final one, because I can't make a project without it, I don't think, is I used the stitched rectangles dies. And just used that one for the sentiment. So I know that, like I said, initially I looked at the bundle, the Hippo one, and I thought, it's kind of cute, but I don't know if I'll use it. I don't know if I really want it. And then I saw the dies, and then I'm like, yeah, I've got to have it. All right. So before we get started on the card, I did want to run through two things really quickly. The first one is that Stampin' Up! Has their Pick a Free Bundle starter kit promotion going on. So if you join as a demonstrator between now and June 30th, you get to pick a free bundle of your choice with your starter kit. So it is awesome. It's a great deal. If you normally get to pick $125 worth of merchandise and you only pay $99, it ships for free. Pay tax on the $99 if that's applicable to you, and that is all. So for your $99 plus tax, you are going to get $125 worth of merchandise plus a free bundle of your choice, and it can either be a stamp set and punch bundle or a stamp set and die bundle. So there are definitely, that really makes it's a great deal. So if you are interested in joining at all, please feel free to reach out to me at amy@stampwithamyk.com, and I will be happy to chat with you more about it and fill you in on any of the demonstrator information. So lots of good perks of being a demonstrator as well. And then the other thing that I want to make sure that you know about is Stampin' Up! Has got their annual catalog kickoff celebration going on right now. And again, this is through the end of June, where if you order or have a party that totals $150 or $250 or greater, you get an additional $25 in Stampin' rewards. So that is free host cash from Stampin' Up!, which is a really awesome deal too. So if you're interested in hosting a party, a workshop, online, catalog party, whatever you want to call it, let me know. I'd be happy to chat with you more about it. So I think that's all that I had to cover. All right, so let's get going on the card. Hey, Rosie, I'm glad you're here. So you want the Hippo one for the dies too? It's definitely a good one. So, all right, so I went ahead, and this is petal pink cardstock, which I don't know how easy that is to tell on here, but I've got a card base. This one I cut, and again, I did my usual thing where I cut this one to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored it at 5 1/2, so it opens this way. And then we're going to do the actual card assembly today with more of a book fold card. So this is cut to 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. Again, it's the same exact size card front, so you can choose which way you prefer to have the layout go. So, and I went ahead and pre-embossed. This is a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch petal pink cardstock, and I just embossed it with the Dainty Diamonds embossing folder, and we're going to adhere it to the front of the card base. Hey, Kevin, I'm glad you're here, and she is here as well. So glad that you are joining us today, and hopefully you like the card. This is a good bundle. So. And it's a whole product suite, actually. If you're interested in everything, it's beautiful. I think you should get it all, but again, I think everybody should get everything. So, all right. So I'm just adhering this onto the card front with a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue, so that it gives me a little second to sort of move things around and make sure that everything's lined up before it is stuck down forever. So I've got that done. The next thing that I did was I cut a piece of the Peony Garden Designer Series paper. I knew I was going to say the wrong name if I didn't look at it. So I have this cut to 2 inches by 5 1/8. This is one of the designs in the pack. It's a very kind of muted gray, and then the backside has got some very pretty gray floral images on it. If you haven't seen that pack of paper, it is in, it's got petal pink and smoky slate and basic gray, and I feel like gray granite, I think, are the colors in it, and whisper white. So definitely a good pack of paper. So I'm going to use a little bit of Stampin' Seal here and adhere this to the card front. And the Stampin' Seal, I'm finding I'm really liking. It's just sort of taken me a minute to kind of figure out how to get it to work best for me. Because like I said, I'm used to some different adhesives that I've been using, mostly the liquid glues and that sort of thing. And it's just taken me a minute to kind of figure out the best way to use it. And I'm finding that when I apply it and then kind of do a little flip back, that seems to put it in the right spot to use it next time. So hopefully that helps you when you get yours. I do love that it's a very, very strong adhesive. So much better than snail. But it's definitely a little different, and it's taken me a minute to kind of get used to. So, all right. Hey, Danette, I'm glad you're here as well. Okay, so next up, I'm going to go ahead and do the sentiment here, which I've got some basic gray cardstock, Versamark ink, sentiment setup, and then white Stampin' Emboss powder. So let's go ahead and get that part done. And I will get this hopefully stamped on here and embossed and die cut without any incidents like last time. I had some troubles in my YouTube live didn't go quite as planned. Sometimes I have to redo things about 12 times before I get them right. And that was a 12-time day on Friday. So, all right, so let's get the embossing powder. Hopefully I've got anything stray off of it. All right, and I'm gonna turn on the heat tool here and set my embossing powder out of the way so that hopefully I do not spill that everywhere. I'm sure that I've told you in a previous video, Stampin' Up, their heat tool has got three levels on it. 0 is off, 1 is for drying, and 2 is for heat embossing. So I've turned it on to level 2 since we're going to be doing a little heat embossing here. And just have to wait for the magic to happen here on screen where it turns the powder into a solid and gets that kind of bright white look to it, and then turn it off, and that's all there is to it. You definitely don't want to way overheat your embossing powders because you can burn them, and yes, I've done it before. So, all right, so we got that done, and I'm going to use the smallest of the kind of wider rectangles from the Stitched Rectangles dies to cut out my sentiment. So, hey, Cindy, I'm glad you're here as well. And I'm just going to do some quick die cutting here off screen. And hopefully I will cut it straight today, unlike Friday. So hopefully y'all are having a great Tuesday. It is beautiful here, sunny, warm in New Jersey, and we are almost done with the school year. One of my daughters gets done on Wednesday with her school, and the other one is finally done on Friday. So not that I've been counting down the hours or anything, but yes, I'm counting down the hours till the school year is done. So, hey, Kay, thanks for hopping in, and welcome from North Carolina. So, all right, so I've got my sentiment done here, and I went ahead and cut it out with the Stitched Rectangle die. And then I added just a little touch of the gray granite shimmer ribbon, and this is a 1/4 inch wide, and basically just added a little piece of it on to the back of this so that there's a little peak of shimmery ribbon out from underneath the sentiment. So definitely don't need very much of it. And then we're going to use the Stampin' Seal, hopefully. Yep, there we go. And I'm going to just adhere the two together, hopefully straight. All right, oops, there, I almost stuck it to my paper. And then I'm going to do a little bit of adhering to the card front. Going to just tuck this right down here like that. All right. Hey, Krista, I'm glad you're here as well. So, busy day today, I guess. So glad everybody's out and hanging and watching, got some time to watch a little bit of a couple of videos today. So, I went ahead and pre-cut this with, again, this is one of the Hippo and Friends dies, and I cut it out just from Whisper White cardstock, so just the basic, super easy little die cut. And then I'm going to pull over so that I did not want to have to torture you guys with watching me die cut all of these little tiny pieces. So I shouldn't say little tiny because they're really not. But cutting the 4 pieces to the flower and then the leaves that go with it. So what I found to be easiest when I started to put this together was to actually start with the center pieces. So the smallest piece in here. And I've got this and I tucked it down. Just tuck it. Hopefully I can tuck it smoothly down inside the other die cut piece. So that's basically what you want. You want to get your pieces lined up. And like I said, you see the little notches in it. Those should line up between the two. So that's how this goes together, the whole thing. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid glue again so that I've got a couple of seconds here to sort of move things around and make sure that everything is in place the way I want it before it's stuck down for good. And then the next thing that I did was I kind of came in here with my thumb and just sort of lifted a little bit. I didn't really, severely crank these out, but gave each of these little petals in here just a little lift so that it gave it a little bit more of a 3D effect. Now, when it goes inside an envelope, it'll probably be smashed, but I thought it looked pretty to start with. So again, then we're going to take the third piece here that I've got die cut and just going to tuck the first 2 down inside and line up again where the notches are at, just like that, and add a little bit of liquid glue down in here. And again, you don't need a ton of the liquid glue, just a little bit. Goes an awfully long way. And then hold it together for just a second. And then again, I came back in with my thumb and sort of lifted up just a little bit to give it a little bit more of a 3D effect for the petals. And then the final piece, I tucked that right here inside as well, and again lined up where the notches were at. When you're adhering this final piece together, you'll definitely want to make sure you don't get heavy-handed with your glue because it's kind of a thinner piece down in here that you're going to be putting your glue on. And my first one I made, I got a little overzealous with the glue and then ended up with kind of a gooey gloppy mess. So just be careful not to put too much glue on it. Hey, Andrea, I'm glad you're here as well. Going to adhere that together. And so that is basically how the flower pieces go together. I also have the little flower center that I cut from basic gray cardstock. And I'm going to take that and put a tiny little bit of glue on the back of it. And then drop it. Only kidding. And at least it landed face up or with a glue side up, because usually when I do that sort of thing, it lands glue side down and then you're trying to figure out how to get the glue off of everything. And I just tucked that down in the very center of the flower. And so that is all there is to putting this together. So they are super easy to use, Connie. Like I said, when I initially looked at it, I sat there for quite a while looking at it and trying to figure out how in the world does this go together. And then when I just started layering things up, it's pretty easy to figure out. Once you just sort of just keep in mind the notch thing and make sure that you're lining up all those notches, start from the center and tuck the pieces one inside the other, and that's all there is to it. So let's go ahead and get this dimensionals. Here we go. Get this adhered on with some Stampin' dimensionals onto the card front. And I'm going to adhere the flower down with a little bit of, I'll use a little bit of liquid glue, but I'm only going to put it here in the center of the flower because I'm going to be tucking the leaves underneath it, and I want to make sure that I have room for my leaves under it. So we're going to adhere that together. You didn't know the flower was set up like that, and can't wait to get your. I'm glad that you watched too. Like I said, it's super easy to use, much easier than I ever thought it was going to be. So, all right. So the next thing that I have got done, hello from France. I'm glad that you're joining today as well. And I know that I will say your name very wrong if I try to say it. So I appreciate you being here. It is a really neat set of dies. Definitely a good one, Akiko. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and place these on over the top of the die cut so I know which one goes with which die. But again, just remember that the leaves go together sort of backwards from what I expected. I thought these were going to go at the top, but they actually go at the bottom. So these are the layering die cut pieces. And again, don't need tons of glue on them, just a little bit. And you should be able to stick it together with that. And if I were really smart, we have the brand new adhesive sheets in the catalog. I would have cut these out with adhesive sheets, but I only realized or only remembered I had the adhesive sheets after I had everything all cut out already. So next time I will try to remember to put them on the adhesive sheets before I do the die cutting, so that I can show you the adhesive sheets. But for today we have to use green glue because, well, because I forgot. So that's the problem when I get so many new things all at once. I forget what I have and what I don't have. And then I go to use things and I'm like, oh, whoopsies. So, all right, so just adhering these together quickly with a little bit of green glue, or multi-purpose liquid glue, I guess is officially called, not green glue. I only call it green because it's the green bottle. And I had cut these, now I've got glue stuck on my finger. I had cut these from soft seafoam cardstock, which I probably forgot to say earlier when I was putting things together. So just adhering them together and trying not to glue my fingers to everything. I do have some glue dots, which I will be using to stick the leaves on. So just going to take the couple of glue dots here and stick them on the back of the leaf and tuck it right up here under the flower for the larger leaf that I'm putting on the bottom. And then we got the smaller leaf that I'm going to layer over the top. Just going to tuck that right underneath the flower as well. And then I'm going to stick this on the card front before I put the final leaf on. You want to try the adhesive sheets. And like I said, I wish I had remembered that I had them. I actually got both of these, got the first card all done and die cut everything for the second card. And then it occurred to me that I had the adhesive sheets that I could have used on both of them instead of wrestling with the green glue. But oh well, it's done. So, all right. So I wanted to go ahead and adhere this down to the card front before I added the third leaf, because I want to make sure that this is going to be on the card front and not hanging off. So I just needed that for placement purposes to make sure that I was putting it in the right spot underneath my flower. All right, so there you go. The final piece that I'm going to add here on the card front is just some of these really pretty, elegant, faceted gems. These are new in the catalog, and they're very shiny and very pretty. So the one that I used on this card is the more matte, maybe is the, I don't even know how to describe the difference between the two. This one's more of a clear, and this one's kind of a, I'm sure there's a term for it, but it looks almost matte. So I don't know how else to describe it other than it's not the clear one. It's the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and use the, and there I stuck it to my finger and not to the project. I'm going to use the clear one on this one just so that, I'm not sure how well the video will pick it up, but hopefully you'll be able to see the difference between the two once I get it here. So this is the one that's a little more clear, and then this is the one that's a little more matte. Frosted, yes, Karen. I knew there was a term for it, and I knew somebody would come up with it, but I couldn't, of course, on the fly. So, it's a very slightly different look on them. So not a huge difference in the two, but they're both very shiny and very pretty. So, all right, so let me get this set aside, and we will do the inside of the card, and we will be all done. So one thing, on the inside of the card, I just did a little bit of stamping in Petal Pink ink. One thing I did want to remind you about is I do have my double Running Shoe Reward Points ordering special going on right now through the end of the day today, which is Tuesday the 9th. So if you are planning on putting in an order, make sure you get your order in soon with me so I can get you your double points for the new catalog kickoff. So. All right, so that is all there is to the inside. I just did a little quick stamping in Petal Pink, and then we're going to use a little bit of the Stampin' Seal, and I think you should be brave, Karen, and use these dies because they're awesome, and I think you'll have a lot of fun playing with them once you kind of get it figured out. So, all right, so using the Stampin' Seal to adhere the inside of the card together. And that is all that I've got. So I'm going to fold this closed and then do a quick crease. Just flip it over and do a quick kind of light crease on the back with the bone folder so that I don't smash the embossing on it. So this is the card we made today. This is my sample card I made ahead of time, and I see that I did a little different placement on the flower, but I think either way works. Hopefully you like them both, and thanks again for joining today. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. I'll be posting all the details for this card out on my blog tomorrow, which will be the 10th of June, so you can go take a look, and I will also link up the blog post in this video so you can have direct links to all of the cardstock cuts and all the information that you'll need for it. So thanks for joining today. So Darlene's saying that her peonies are blooming but haven't, or growing but haven't bloomed yet. So very nice. You have to share some pictures once they actually do start blooming. So Thanks again for joining today. I will plan to be live on my YouTube channel on Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, and back here on Facebook Live again next week, Tuesday, around 2 o'clock Eastern Time. So thanks again for joining today. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, and we will chat soon.